Reassure me, we aren't going to have to force that one, are we?
I don't think we're even capable of doing it. You're going to have to find a way to open it.
Why, of course. And what's inside?
Something to vanquish them with?
Perfect. So, how does it open?
We'll need several keys. I found a note from the architect who conceived the mechanism in Mortimer's secret study. We have to first gather 5 objects before we try anything.
Are the 5 objects the keys?
Exactly. We have the Clement III cross, the nails, the Gutenberg Bible, the exegesis of Judas, an armillary sphere, and all we need to match up the dates between the different calendars.
Exegesis. Anything else?
Did you manage to vanquish the Medusa?
To open the chimney? Yes, absolutely.
So you've already come across it. It's the Bible of Judas that is exposed in the secret room behind the chimney.
Why do they call it an exegesis?
Because that's what it is, and not an apocryphal Bible, strictly speaking. It's the study of a text with a summary, not an actual Bible. Anyway, well done for the Gorgon. You did well. You didn't get tricked by the light bouncing back.
Thanks. Do you think I can take it safely?
We haven't got a choice, Louis. Without it, we won't be able to work out this cursed mechanism.
Why a cross?
Well, I haven't the foggiest idea, but it just so happens that's what you are going to use to activate the mechanism. I found the one Mortimer kept. It belonged to Cardinal Guibert, better known by the name of Pope Clement III.
Perfect. Where is it?
Unfortunately, I've lost it. When I lost my hand, I went dashing out, and it must have fallen from my pocket.
Remember, Mother. I'm certain you can remember.
Let me think.
You were running.
I was bleeding to death.
You remember the pain.
I thought I was going to faint. Yes, I remember. I don't think it can be far, can it?
Would you have lost it outside?
No, I don't think so. It must be in the area. I don't remember going up with it.
Perfect. I'll search the crypt before leaving. Some nails?
Don't ask me. I'm not the one who made the mechanism, you know. When I arrived, there were already a few of them inserted, so I didn't have to worry about those. On the other hand, I remember seeing some in Mortimer's secret study, behind his nightmare.
And a golden cup? Yes. Yes, I saw them too.
Perfect. It will be easy for you to find them then. You need 3 of them.
Very well.
You remember what to do about the rollers. 1191 to enter, and 6466 to exit.
Of course.
This is the book in which you left your correspondence with Duchess Hillsborough, isn't it?
That's right.
You still believe it's in the tower room, don't you?
I don't know. There is only one way to find out, though.
Right. I shall go and see. There's one in the portrait gallery.
Yes, but it's enormous. If you don't want to have to go back and forth several times, then I suggest you get a smaller one.
What did you do then?
I didn't think I'd need one. I started without one, and I lost my hand before I did need one. And you can see the result.
What do you mean by the concordance of dates exactly?
Don't worry about that. We already have them. They are written on the back of the message I just gave you. One last thing before you go. Be very careful. If you come across anyone, they can all potentially be spies of Mortimer or Holm. Don't ever confide in anyone because a demon can slip inside them at any moment.
Wait, not all of them though. Take Washington.
Especially Washington. He's been conditioned by Mortimer for years. Look at them, for crying out loud. How do you explain their behavior otherwise? The most influential politicians in the Western world gather together without the least protection, without a single aid to assist them, to participate in a conference during which the guests start dropping like flies. Me, Adams, Peru, Hillsborough. Look at the number of calamities that have happened over the past few days. And not one of them has asked to leave the island? Do you find that normal? You'll see. Go up to the manor to look for the keys, and I wager not one of them will speak to you about my being in Emily's room.
Do you think so?
Go on, you'll see. And come back with all the objects in one go. Time is against us. And remember, the code to get out of the secret office is 6466.
golden elixir. I'll keep it for later.
Famous cross of Claymont III. Perfect. And one key found. A Chinese coin, recognizable by the hole in the middle. If I remember rightly, that's called a cash. What on earth is that? A disc with information engraved in the metal? An iris that should open, I imagine, and blood.
Mother? The dried blood. There.
Yes, it's mine. Sorry if I stained everything, but I must admit that at the time my thoughts were more on the pain than cleaning up after myself.
There are Roman numerals, Arab numbers, and town names.
Go on. I'm listening. What do you think?
How many nails are needed again?
3.
One nail per type of information, I'm guessing.
In other words?
Well, a nail must be placed on each Roman numeral. One nail on an Arabic numeral, and one nail on a town.
Well done, Louis.
All the town names mentioned have something to do with Christ, haven't they? Golgotha, Bethlehem, Nazareth.
Exactly.
Tell me, I imagine that once we've solved this enigma, the iris opens, right?
Exactly.
On each engraved piece of information, there's a hole. Those are for the nails, right?
That's absolutely right.
Did you succeed in opening this iris?
Yes, by putting the cross on the console and the 3 nails on the disc, the iris opens. It gives access to a hole where I put my hand, thinking I could fully open the iris. There's a handle at the bottom, and as you can see, it didn't turn out very well for me.
Let's see if I can work it out myself. It looks like a kind of control panel.
Looks like certain mechanisms I've seen before. I wouldn't be surprised if I had to put the Claymont III cross in it. There's a cross-shaped slot there. I'd say you've got to place a Claymont III cross in it.
Tell me, Mother, you wouldn't know anything that might save me some time, would you?
That's where you'll have to put the Clement III cross. You insert the cross into the slot, and it will open the iris. But don't do it straight away. Start by gathering everything together, because you've seen what happens when you try to go too fast. You ought to go, Louis. If someone finds us here, the situation might well become seriously complicated.
Right. It's definitely an armillary sphere, but I have to find one that I can take with me. Otherwise, I risk drawing too much attention to my comings and goings. Now, where can I find a smaller one? Right. Let's see if the statues are in place yet.
Devil's Thorn. I'll keep it.
That statue is not positioned correctly. Open sesame. So that's the exegesis of Judas. I hope Mortimer doesn't read it very often, otherwise he's going to notice that someone's stolen it. But that's just too bad. I need it.
Oh, looks like a pamphlet on different political regimes, written by Mortimer himself.
The Ring of the Nibelungs. Even if Mortimer is several centuries old, I don't see what part he has in this legend. Right. I've got what I need. Now let's not waste any more time. I have no space left. I'll retrieve it later. I have no space left. I'll retrieve it later.
King George III in coronation robes. Nice touch for the room of an English duchess.
Sorry, sir, but Mr. Peru is not seeing visitors at the moment. He's resting and is to see no one. Good luck.
Ah, Louis. Glad you're here.
Blasted. He's gonna talk about my mother.
Come and see what I've found. There are pieces of paper in the ashes of the chimney. Someone's been burning something here.
Incredible. He doesn't seem to want to speak to me about what happened between my mother and the Hillsborough sisters.
Show me a little.
Look, it's possible to distinguish two different writing styles.
The rest of the correspondence between my mother and Emma.
Someone tried to burn an exchange of messages. I'm certain. There must be more.
Shit. What on earth is he doing?
If you want my opinion, a servant must have burnt some old papers. That's all.
Why, of course. You very nearly made me think that you were trying to hide something, Louis. No, I'm sure there must be other hidden messages.
He won't let go. He's going to work his way back to the Bible if he continues. The Bible's still there.
Hey, look, there.
No, I don't see anything.
Come, Louis, look. Someone's clearly drawn a 4 in the dust. I have a clue.
He's going to be disappointed when he sees the Bible's disappeared. Right. This time, it'll be a lot quicker. If I remember rightly, the code was 1191. Of course. There. Those are the nails I was looking for. I noticed they were old and rusty, but I hadn't noticed these traces of... Could that be blood? Is it really the relic of the Holy Cross? I can hardly believe it. Mortimer's interested in black magic. Mortimer really is a demon. I wonder what he could be doing with all of this. It's locked. All right, come on. Let's get out of here. 6466, if I remember correctly. Chronicles of the Amber Princess. As I recall, Dorkin was my favorite character. I have no space left. I'll retrieve it later.
Not too shocked
I beg your pardon?
about Peru this morning. I asked you if you weren't too shocked by it all.
And yourself? Not too shook up?
The only thing that matters to me about that stupid man Peru is the disastrous situation in which it puts us for the conference vote. I wonder why Mortimer even allowed him to roam around the manor armed. He was a veritable public danger.
Indeed. You don't seem to be too affected. Tell me. I was wondering. You wouldn't know where to find an armillary sphere, would you?
Do you really think this is the right time? Oh, ask Volner. I am sure he will know. What with him being passionate about astronomy, you ought to get on fine together. Leave me now. I need to think of a solution.
You wouldn't know where to find an armillary sphere, would you?
Do you really think this is the right time? Oh, ask Volner. I am sure he will know. What with him being passionate about astronomy, you ought to get on fine together. Leave me now. I need to think of a solution.
I won't keep you any longer. See you later, monsieur.
What can I do for you, sir? I am at your service day and night, sir.
As I was unable to bring my personal effects with me, I was wondering if you could find me a few items.
Of course, sir. What would you require?
What's that book you're hiding in your jacket?
The Sorrows of Young Werther by Goethe, sir. And I am not hiding it.
Hand it to me, please.
It is damaged, sir. I would never dare lend sir a book in such a pitiful state, sir. I took it to restore.
My good fellow, would you have any amber available?
I would, but unfortunately I don't think I am authorized to give it out, sir. I believe it is a precious stone.
Monsieur Johann van Volner. Golden elixir. An armillary sphere. Perfect. That will save me some time. I only hope that he isn't going to realize it right away.
So, good. You've managed to gather all the keys.
Yes, that's right. I have everything. What should I start with?
Place the Clement III cross on the console. Then you have to put the nails on the disc of the door.
What theme did you start with?
As the fresco shows the birth of Christ, I placed one nail in Bethlehem, one in chapter 2, and one in verse 6. The iris opened a little. I thought it was normal. Behind the aperture of the iris, there is a duct in which I put my hand. I felt something like a valve at the bottom. I thought by turning it the door would open, or the iris would open completely, or something else would happen. Instead, I felt something like an axe cut off my hand. I really thought it was the end of me.
What did you do then?
Well, although I had made some unfortunate choices, I was lucky in that Mortimer was well stocked with drugs. I raided his supplies of medicine.
What hole should I put the nails in?
Well, I can't really advise you there, because I haven't exactly made the best choices myself. All I can say is that you have to insert one to choose a town, one to choose a chapter, and one to choose a verse.
All right, my turn now.
Go ahead, impress me. I'll shut up and let you concentrate.
This exegesis contains comments from Judas on the different Gospels. It only contains certain chapters and verses, and the chapters are indicated by Roman numerals. The lexicon refers to different chapters and verses from the exegesis of Judas. Cross is stuck in the mechanism. I can't do anything. The cycle of the moons has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. The cycle of the moons has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. The fresco clearly shows the birth of Christ.
Louis, I can assure you that that is not the solution to this enigma. This fresco's only purpose is to mislead. I know that now. Please, focus on another theme about Christ.
I'll have to trust her. Yes, it's definitely a representation of the birth of Christ, but some of the details have flaked away. I can't see any other clues. One thing is for sure, this enigma deals with the life of Jesus, like my mother said. You could see that the paint has come off in parts. Difficult to see what was there, but I can distinguish the letters N-R-I. Nothing more. Why, of course. I-N-R-I. Jesus Nazarenus Rex Eudorum. These initials stand for Jesus the Nazarene, King of the Jews. This is the inscription which appears on the cross at the crucifixion of Jesus. If Mortimer deliberately set a trap by showing the birth of Christ, then maybe the solution is the contrary. The death of Christ in that case? It looks like there are 3 types of inscriptions. Clearly, we have names of towns, Arabian numerals, and Roman numerals. There are 3 styles of writing, and I've got 3 nails. There must be a link. I must surely put in 1 nail per category. These towns have one thing in common. They're all related to the life and death of Jesus. For example, Jordan is the place of the baptism of Christ. Chapter 3, verse 18. Words truly pronounced in Abagash. Chapter 3, verse 18. He that believeth in him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. Chapter 19, verse 17. Jesus was crucified on the 8th of Nisan, 3793, in a place near Jerusalem. The Romans put a crown of thorns on his head. Chapter 19, verse 17. And he, bearing his cross, went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is called in the Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him, and 2 others with him, on either side, and Jesus in the midst. Chapter 19, verse 17. Jesus was crucified on the 8th of Nisan, 3793, in a place near Jerusalem. The Romans put a crown of thorns on his head. Chapter 19, verse 17. And he, bearing his cross, went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is called in the Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him, and two others with him, on either side, and Jesus in the midst. It works.
Well done, Louis. I hadn't seen those other wheels. Try connecting the theme to see if it goes all the way.
There must surely be a connection between the wheels. This wheel represents the different moons. The totally black moon corresponds to the new moon. So, going clockwise, we have the waning crescent, the last quarter, the waning gibbous, the full moon, the waxing gibbous, the first quarter, and lastly, the waxing crescent. In the occult sciences, we represent the full moon by an X. As for the dark moon, called the new moon, in cults, it's often associated with something harmful. There are different icons on this wheel, but it looks like some of them can't be connected to the other wheels.
I think I can make out each one of the icons apart from the one covered in blood.
Going clockwise from the one I just mentioned, we have the halo that represents the resurrection. The waves represent the baptism of Jesus. It's more difficult to identify the next one. Maybe a crib, and in that case it's surely linked to the birth of Christ. The red herring that my mother followed. Then, the symbol represents the crown of thorns that Jesus wore during his crucifixion. The dove also represents the baptism. Certainly another red herring. Then comes the symbol of the Trinity. And finally, the candle that must stand for the Last Supper. Now, given the difference between the number of icons and the number of towns, I think that only one path connects all the wheels with one another. Let's try to connect the theme I've chosen with the rest. This wheel contains several symbols made up of one or two figures and one letter. The highest figure does not exceed 31, and each letter corresponds to a month of the year. A for April, and M for March. I think these symbols must represent a specific date. Look at this. There are notches between each of the wheels. So, I have to link the name of the town from the theme I've chosen to an icon, then to a date, and finally, the date to the moon. The moon's shadow moves from west to east. Eighth of Ramadan, 553, waxing crescent. During new moon, the moon is entirely in the shadow. Then, the shadow moves from west to east, meaning left to right, and goes through the following states. Waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, last quarter, waning crescent, and the cycle starts over with the full shadowed new moon. It looks like there are 3 types of inscriptions. Chapter 19, verse 17. Jesus was crucified on the 8th of Nisan, 3793, in a place near Jerusalem. The Romans put a crown of thorns on his head. Chapter 19, verse 17. And he, bearing his cross, went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is called in the Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him, and 2 others with him, on either side, and Jesus in the midst. Chapter 19, verse 17. Jesus was crucified on the 8th of Nisan, 3793, in a place near Jerusalem. The Romans put a crown of thorns on his head. 7th of Shaban, 607, first quarter. In the occult sciences, we represent the full moon by an X. As for the dark moon, called the new moon, in cults, it's often associated with something harmful. The totally black moon corresponds to the new moon. So, going clockwise, we have the waning crescent, the last quarter, the waning gibbous, the full moon, the waxing gibbous, the first quarter, and lastly, the waxing crescent. The totally black moon corresponds to the new moon. So, going clockwise, we have the waning crescent, the last quarter, the waning gibbous, the full moon, the waxing gibbous, the first quarter, and lastly, the waxing crescent.
I can feel the lever at the bottom.
Good luck.
That was a close one.
Louis, you frightened me.
Looks like I've got another chance to find the right solution, just barely though.
Sixth of Rajab, 611, Waxing Crescent. Let's see what combination corresponds to the chosen theme. Let's see what combination corresponds to the chosen theme. To follow the crucifixion theme, I should select the crown of thorns. By following the clues in the Bibles and the architect's notes, the crucifixion took place on the 8th of Nisan 3793, according to the astronomers of that time. That would correspond to March 26th in the year 33 on a modern calendar. According to the architect's notes in the armillary sphere, the moon during the crucifixion was a first quarter. That's the one with its left half in the light.
I can feel the lever at the bottom.
Good luck. I never doubted you, my son.